Never shall innocent blood be shed. Yet the blood of the wicked shall flow like a river. The three shall spread their blackened wings and be the vengeful striking hammer of God. You people have been chosen to reveal our existence to the world. You will witness what happens here today, and you will tell of it later. All eyes to the front. You must watch, dear. It'll all be over soon.
Now you will receive us. We do not ask for your poor or your hungry. We do not want your tired and sick.
It is your corrupt we claim.
It is your evil that will be sought by us.
With every breath, we shall hunt them down.
Each day, we will spill their blood till it rains down from the skies.
Do not kill, do not rape, do not steal. These are principles which every man of every faith can embrace.
These are not polite suggestions. These are codes of behavior. And those of you that ignore them will pay the dearest cost.
There are varying degrees of evil. We urge you lesser forms of filth, not to push the bounds and cross over into true corruption, into our domain.
But if you do, one day you will look behind you and you will see we three. And on that day, you will reap it.
And we will send you to whatever God you wish.
And shepherds we shall be, for thee, my Lord, for thee. Power hath descended forth from thy hand. May swiftly carry out thy command. So we shall flow river forth to thee, and teeming with souls shall it ever be.
In nomine Patri.
Et Filii, Spiritus Sancti.
How far are we gonna take this, Star?
The question is not how far. The question is, do you possess the Constitution? The depth of faith to go as far as is needed?
Hey guys.
Hello.
Good evening.
Are we talking about bees tonight?
Bumblebees, wasps. We're doing biology tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Drone bees that serve the queen.
Ooh. Oh, man. Yeah, the queen bee. It's a concept that's been around a bit. Steve will get into it a little later, but a queen bee and they're exposed. Well, I think our title is probably a little off, but we're talking about the taxonomy of queen bees in general, but more so much biologically, but sociologically with regards to women. Queen bees in certain spaces. It could be a church. Yeah, we're going to talk about that in the church. But most particularly, we're going to talk about the queen bee as she appears in the manosphere or red pill. And us guys, we kind of exist in both realms, the manosphere, red pill, and the Christian church. We're a bunch of Christian guys, and we happen to be red pill. All right, without further ado, I'll introduce the taxonomy of the queen bee, biologically speaking. And I'll find that right here, I think. All right. Queen bee taxonomy. Queen bees central to the life of a honeybee colony, belong to the kingdom Animalia, phylum Arthropoda, class Insecta, order Hymenoptera, and family Apidae. If I pronounced it wrong, my apologies. Most specifically, the commonly known Western honeybee queen, also called the European honeybee, is classified as Apis mellifera. Key aspects of queen bee's role in the hive. Reproduction. The queen is the sole fertile female in the colony, responsible for laying all the eggs that become workers and drones. She can lay thousands of eggs, eggs per day during peak seasons, ensuring the colony's growth and survival. Pheromone production. Queen bees produce a variety of chemical scents or pheromones that regulate the unity and behavior of the colony. For example, the queen mandibular pheromone QMP signals her presence, promotes worker unity, inhibits worker production, and helps regulate colony activities like foraging and comb building. Colony cohesion. The queen's pheromones help maintain the colony's social structure and organization. When her pheromones are strong, workers are content. Yeah, you caught that, didn't you? Workers are content and focused on their task, contributing to a stable and productive hive. Swarming and supersedure. When a colony becomes crowded or the queen's egg-laying abilities declines, the workers may initiate the process of replacing her. Ooh. This can involve swarming, where the old queen leaves with a portion of the colony to establish a new hive, or supersedure, where the workers raise a new queen to take her place within the existing hive. In
Okay,
essence,
that is
queen
eerie.
bee. Yeah. Yeah. In essence, the queen bee, while not a ruler in the traditional sense, plays an irreplaceable role in the hive by providing a continuous supply of drama and maintaining the colony through her feelings and sips. Plays an irreplaceable role in the hive by providing a continuous supply of new bees and maintaining the colony through her pheromones. Yeah, some of that was tongue in cheek there, but you guys kind of get the idea. This is your zoology or your taxonomy of what a queen bee actually is out in nature. But are these, when we're talking about sociologically out, like these groups of women, and then you have the queen bee in a place, location, or social group, are they really queen bees, or are they more like wasp queens? Wasp queens. All right. The death or removal of a wasp queen can significantly impact the colony's behavior, sometimes leading to increased aggression, although the specifics can depend on the wasp species and the timing of the queen's demise. Here's a breakdown of what happens: succession and aggression. In some social wasp species, the queen's death can trigger a period of increased aggression and dominance displays among worker wasps as they compete to become the new queen. This can involve attacks and attempts to assert dominance within the colony. Oh, you mean it can get vicious at times, guys? When one
No, that would never happen anywhere else in the world. Never.
Yeah, not in the civilized world, not in the Christian world.
Yeah, exactly. Not in the no, the Christians would never do this. Ever. Christians are peace and love and light for the whole world.
Yes, so guys, I'm not a master biologist. So I was like, but I've heard of referring to women as wasps sometimes, and not necessarily queen bees. So what about queen wasps? And then I found this. I was like, oh dang. Is it queen bees or is it queen wasps? Or sometimes it's a combination of the two.
Well,
No,
there's
no
wasps.
analogy is perfect, but this one, we can probably gain some insight from it.
Well, that's what I was saying earlier. So some of these things are eerie in how well they map to certain other aspects of life.
Yeah. Oh, queen bee sociology. I'll share this one now. A queen bee is a woman who dominates or leads a group, is in a favored position, or behaves as such. The term has been applied in several social settings, including business and education. It also become a stock character or the basis of fictional characters in novels, film, television, and other media, or just real life, or the red pill, manosphere. Oh, yeah. And the church matriarchs or the church Jezebels, whatever you want to call them.
I'm not sure who to pick on first there because both of these groups do that. And it's they elect them.
Right. And look, some of this is just nature. Like, there's a way to be a queen bee where you can't really, it just is what it is, right? And there's a place where you're a queen bee where you're overstepping nature and you're a vicious C word,
Women would never.
Some of this is just
never.
Some of this is just going to happen regardless of whatever you're going to do. Some of it can be prevented. Not every queen bee is a queen wasp. Man. Oh, where do we see this in media today? Oh, I was talking over in our chat, and I had a few movies I thought about. Then Plutarch's wife, Elena, suggested a couple. So I picked, I'll start with one. Cruel Intentions.
All right, so we're going to copyright strike this one, just so you guys know in advance.
No, it's just a picture, right? That's not copyrighted.
Oh,
is
picture. We should be okay with that.
It's just a picture. It's on IMDb, so Cruel Intentions. So this is the main character's non-related sister. So they are born from, different families, and then their mother and father, after those families split or somebody died off, they remarried. Whatever you call that. There's step siblings, basically. All right. So Sebastian's non-related sister is Catherine, right here, where it says Benedict bitch, backstabbing world of friendship. Yeah, that kind of puts the queen bee in her group. There's a lot of truth to that. Well, his sister is the top girl, acts like Mrs. Innocent in public for her public face, But internally, and actually, she's a perverted and devious bitch who will destroy other ladies and other people that get in her way. She plays nice, but betrays the women for her own image and gain. And this is her brother ultimately dies at the end of the movie because of her stupid shenanigans and crap that she does. And this is the page in her diary, in his like journal about Cruel Intentions. This is her true character. In the bottom left, it actually says liar, but I couldn't get a picture where it says it. But promiscuous, deceitful, liar, alcoholic, and also she's got a drug problem in her supposed like rosary. It's actually got some powder in there. So this is a queen bee. She rules her hive. Not an overt hierarchy, but a informal hierarchy. You best not cross them, because they will start rumors and all sorts of crap behind their back. They'll appear as something to everyone else, but in actuality, they're a devious, manipulative bitch. Are all queen bees this way? And maybe not necessarily, but this is one example in popular media.
So I would say there are levels of queen bee. To be a queen bee does not mean they are this evil. But the queen bee always puts on a good face, feigns innocence, morality, but underneath is devious, manipulative, seeks attention, seeks power and control. I would say it comes down to their motivations and intentions, and not all queen bees are pure evil.
True.
But you're talking about the extreme here. That's fine.
Yeah, this is popular media, but I'm having fun with it. Oh, the next one. She's all that. There we go. Here is the prom queen, the queen of the school. She thinks she can win prom queen no matter what she does. And she won in the movie. This is Taylor Vaughn. She's the queen. She's the cheating slut with Brock Hudson. Got a tattoo when she cheated on her boyfriend with this Brock Hudson. Every girl wants to be her, and every guy wants to nail her. She's already planning her prom queen acceptance speech way beforehand, and she has her group of skanks. And she's a bully. To anyone she thinks a threat, she will start rumors and perhaps embarrass them. As she poured a drink on her competition, Laney Boggs, in front of everyone. And last but not least, I think the biggest example of the queen bee of all is, drumroll, Regina George of the Plastics from the movie Mean Girls. Movie
There you
came
go,
out in
Alex. There's your
2004.
Mean Girl reference.
There you go.
He
So the
left this
group-
comment earlier.
Yeah. Yeah, you know. Quote from the movie. So the group was the popular girls, and then they had the queen bee of the popular girls was Regina George, but the group of the popular girls was the Plastics. There's two quotes regarding the Plastics. The worst people you will ever meet. Beware of the Plastics. Another quote. Because being with the Plastics was like being famous. Here's a quote from the movie. An evil takes a human form in Regina George. She may seem like your typical selfish, backstabbing, slut-faced O-bag, but in reality, she is so much more than that. She's the queen bee, the star. The other two are just her little workers. So what does Regina George do in the movie? She starts rumors. She destroys other women's relationships with lies. And she has her ignorant band of loyal followers. And also she has her army of skanks. And her type of fighting was in girl world fashion, quote, in girl world, all the fighting had to be sneaky. And in the movie, you see girls seek to dethrone each other for various reasons.
Well, in Girl World, the so like the queen bee has to be die or is replaced for lack of production. The girls don't die as fast as bees, so you have to do the whole replacement thing, don't you?
Well, and at the end of the movie, they had the freshman group of the Plastics coming in as their group kind of got disbanded.
Yep. I have not actually seen the movie, but I believe it.
Oh, I did just in preparation for this episode.
You watched Mean Girls just for this?
Yes, I did.
Okay, guys, that is dedication right there.
I immensely
Okay,
enjoyed it because it proved my point.
Let me interject something here.
All right.
Oh, you got to take yours off, and then I'll add mine to the stage.
Okay.
This will be quick. Okay. There was a book written in 2016, Queen Bees and Wannabes.
Okay, Steve, I did research on this. I got to stop you. That's the third edition of a book that was written in 2002. So the movie actually came after the book.
Right. Okay. So what I want to say is Rosalind Wiseman wrote this. Okay, so women have been calling out this. They understand this dynamic. We're not inventing this. So this was 2016. Okay. So more than 20 years ago, Queen Bees and Wannabes let parents inside the secret world of their adolescent daughters' female relationships, giving us a new vocabulary for these fickle social dynamics, as well as invaluable strategies for helping our daughters navigate them. Since then, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that's all I wanted to say about that. But let me tell you something. women never get out of high school in this behavior. They never socially, the adolescent dynamics persist, I don't know, into their 50s, 60s. I don't know if it ever ends.
Yeah, I don't think it ends. I think it just calms. Actually, it probably does end at the wall.
No,
Not,
no.
not necessarily the, like women try and ignore and deny the wall for many, many years, right? But there comes a point when even, like if you're turning, 50 and I mean, you can throw pennies into the fountain of youth, but most women by then will recognize that they're not the top of the female intersexual competition pyramid.
It just, hey, Plutarch, it just changes.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and I'll prove this. Nick, you were a pastor of a church. You and I talked last night about the queen bee or the matriarch.
Yep.
How old was
depending on how bad it is.
How old was the matriarch who tried to control every aspect of the church? She was usually in her 50s or 60s, right?
Usually, yeah. Occasionally, you'll get younger ones.
But
usually
okay,
it's like
the women in their 50s and 60s.
Sometimes you'll get late.
Okay, they're not.
Yeah.
They're not competing sexually for that trophy, but they still seek that power and that control over their environment, and ultimately, it's power over men.
Steve, it almost sounds like you are trying to describe they recognize that they no longer have sexual power because they, 50-year-old woman doesn't. Yeah. And so it's like they have to lean into the queen bee dynamic because that's the only form of power they're going to ever be able to hold on to.
Yeah, and they enhance their false moral superiority as their sexual value goes down.
Oh, goodness. How many decades has the Red Bill been talking about that? Nothing new there, guys. Because
so the less poon they have to offer.
No, actually, Nick, yes.
They are.
Yes, Nick.
I hate I would hate but it's generally true.
Nick, you've seen it in your own church.
You have seen this in your own marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When she was young and hot, okay, she had that going for her. As her beauty declines, she asserts her importance in other control means. And religious women especially do this because they find their spiritual life as their beauty declines, and then they know everything about purity, morality, and they use that to assert control over their husband, whereas before they just did it by their beauty.
No, Steve, morality is a surrogate sexuality for women. That's what it is. They're losing their sexual dominance, and so they need to come up with a surrogate way of maintaining that dominance that they have experienced and enjoyed for 10, 20, 30 years, whatever. And so now they have to replace it with a different form of dominance, and moral purity plays into the standards. mean, prudishness. Yes, because it plays into that neatly into the Christian view of, well, I wouldn't really, not actually Christian, but that I need to come up with a term for this, but I'm going to call that secular Christian view that all women are beings of pure light and goodness, right?
They're angelic beings. How
Yes.
dare you want access to my breasts and my box?
No
You're
matter
a
how
bad
sordid her past, no matter how
Oh,
sordid
when
her
she gave it
past,
away
Yeah,
when
correct.
she
Yeah.
was on her back plenty for
she
free.
can just gain this moral superiority. And no one need know about what she did when she was young.
In fact, Steve, have you noticed the trend of women trying to make bringing up their past a immoral act against God Himself, to even discuss a woman's immoral actions in the past?
No,
Well,
they can try. I just don't give a crap.
Well,
They
you
just
don't give a
become
crap.
indignant that you would even ask such scandalous, immoral questions of her. Oh, I mean, who the hell are you to even ask such questions?
Is
You
this a
are evil
form
for
of
even thinking those thoughts.
is this a form of? I'm trying to think, because
Man, I'm evil.
well, because
But
there's this idea. It's like a combination of anchoring and the big lie, right? Like if I just go so over the top at, like, how dare you even even suggest that because I might have been immoral, that I that I have my repentance. I'm thinking about Nala here, of course. That my repentance and my over the top gestures, how dare you suggest that those they do not supersede my past, that they do not completely destroy, and for you to even bring up my past is some sort of moral
hey,
moral or immoral act against God Himself, as if she gets to claim a moral sort of
no,
godhood.
yeah, normative speaking, in a normative way of speaking. Here's a
This
theological
is
question. I think
not.
we can all agree on this question, right? Does being born again or regenerated, however you want to parse it, does that erase the fact that you have HIV or HPV or herpes?
No, it doesn't.
No. So
There you
this
go.
indignation, this attack on the man who asked the question. Okay, we're red pill guys, and we're explaining this. This is nothing new. And let me illustrate that by paraphrasing Shakespeare. Methinks the lady doth protest too much. Whenever a woman protests too much at the question and just goes far beyond what is even reasonable, rational, you hit a nerve. And it's fake indignation to shame you for asking the question, which would expose the reality of her past.
Yeah, and there's a queen bee trait that we're going to get into, because some of this stuff it's more queen bee specific, but it's also some of these things are just shared among female nature, but among certain types of females. So, anyways, thank you, Steve. Thank you, Plutarch. I'm gonna get this back on the road. I think we're getting a little off track, but we'll put it all together here. I'm going to lay the outline, and then I'm going to let kind of Steve kind of give the introduction to the Queen Bee and the Manosphere and the RP. So I have A through G, my points. I probably should have numbered them, but I went alphabetical, whatever. Point A, what is the Queen Bee attire? So this is the taxonomy of a Queen Bee for the Manosphere Red Pill. Some of it carries over in the church stuff. And I'll get to that. But point A, what is the Queen Bee attire? Point B, what are the Queen Bee traits / masks they wear? Point C, Queen Bee goals and motivations. Point D, where's the man in the picture? Point E, the question of female narcissism. Point F, the simp army of thirsty men. And lastly, point G, what do they contribute to the space? So, Steve, are you there? Not?
Yep, I'm here.
So this is
Okay,
what I
so
talked
what's
about
your
with-
question?
So your old blogging name was Seven Man. We did an episode on who you were. You were
I
in
still
there
am
in the
him.
early You were in there in the early in the Manosphere and the RP blogging days before social media kind of took it over with like YouTube and all that crap. So tell me about the Queen Bee and the Manosphere and RP Red Pill blogging days.
Okay, well, first of all, the Manosphere was primarily men coming in to talk about their experiences, their observations of women, trying to figure things out. Okay, there were factions. Yeah, there was the pickup artists. There was the men's rights activists. There were the men going their own way. There were the Christian guys trying to make sense of this. There was a married red pill. Okay, it was just a lot of guys. And okay, guys would fight a little bit amongst themselves, but yeah, we didn't hassle each other that much. But it was a group of men. There were no pictures. Mostly it was pseudonyms. But this is where the men are. This is where the excitement is. So there would be a handful of women who would come in and participate. And the men were, oh, okay, that's fine. And a woman would come in. She'd post regularly, maybe even start her own blog and get some activity, some traffic over there. And generally, she would repeat the same things that men said. Except she would say it in a higher pitched voice. I give credit for that phrase to Paul Elam. He was there. He's an MRA guy now. But he was kind of mainstream at that time. And the men would flock around and listen to her. Hey, men always like to have a woman around. It makes life a little bit more fun. But the other women, there would always be behind the scenes infighting. And I don't know, a queen bee would last 6 to 9 months. And then she'd kind of fade away. I never figured out why that happened, but there would be a new up and coming, or when there was a vacancy, then different people would be vying for it. And there were different enclaves of the Manosphere. So there might be a mini queen bee over here in one aspect, and 5-6 guys would comment there. I did that. There was a woman, Alte, Alte. She was married. Her husband didn't participate, but she had a blog, and she was articulate. And there were guys who would comment on her blog, and yeah, it got kind of racy at times. It was fun, especially around the time she was ovulating.
Oh.
And then, it didn't get obnoxious, explicit, but it would get racy. And then about a day later, all those comments would just magically disappear. But okay, she had her following, and I was there, and I had fun. Then there were other people who would come in and post, and then my wife or future wife, I met her in that sphere, so she had her own blog. She never really gained big in popularity, but man, the things she would say about the other women, and once they knew that she and I were a thing, the animosity that she got was just it was hilarious. And then various people or various of these queen bees, mainly because of my wife, and okay, women, even if they're at odds, they talk and they form fleeting alliances.
Team woman
And
ish.
kind of, yeah. And then I find out the history of these women. Well, their history
Mhm.
and their current situation. And then I find out how they act going forward. The interesting thing is, none of these women, well, virtually none of the women, were as moral, innocent, wholesome as they pretended to be.
Well, so tell me about the example you talked about. We can leave her nameless, right? The blogger that she acted like she was
Okay,
really wholesome, then behind the scenes she was something else.
she had this very, very traditional blog. It's a small one, but guys would go in there and read it. They would comment about what she said elsewhere. Just had this wholesome image, um, wise beyond her years. And I think she was married at the time, but she didn't ever talk about her husband. And then there was another male guy who was in there for a while. He was more of the PUA kind of guy. And I found out that they went, I don't know, Vegas or someplace and hooked up for a weekend. It was kind of hot and heavy. You could kind of see the signs. And then once they got together, he decided, nope, no, she's not it. So he shunned her, and she was devastated. Well, she was into a little bit more of the kinky stuff, like BDSM type stuff. And he was just too much, or she was too much for him. So basically, I don't know how this happened, but he pawned her off a friend of his who was also into that. So, okay, that worked. She ended up being with that guy for a while, getting pregnant. And I don't know if she married him or they just shacked up or whatever. But behind the scenes, she was messed up. And I'm not saying she was messed up because she was into the BDSM. I was saying she was messed up and she was into that. I don't think there is necessarily causation there. It might be correlation. There might be a little bit of causation, maybe 50%. I don't know. But these women are not what they appear. And another one, a different one. who she was a darling of Doll Rock's blog for a while. And she posted a long distance photo of her on a beach or in the water. And my wife saw that. She blew up the picture. And do you know what my wife was laughing at? Oh, she's got a tramp stamp.
They pretty much all have that these days, though.
Well, no, not anymore. Tramp stamps are out of fashion now.
Well, that's just that
15 years.
so much of their body tattooed that you wouldn't even notice the difference.
Right.
Anyways.
So these women have a past. And they come in to get male attention and feign that they're moral, upstanding women who understand men. And they repeat back the things that men say in the manosphere about the nature of women to kind of put down other women and to gain attention. Now, these women in the manosphere, this was in the blogging days. They didn't show their picture. It was all about how they conducted themselves. And men, it's pleasant to hear a woman finally say things that you agree with. Damn, wow, there's a woman who finally gets it. It's a phenomena. And it's still happening today in little ways. It happens on YouTube.
In big ways,
Social
too.
media's changed in big ways. I think it's a huge game changer on the queen bee. But thank you, Steve. So you're telling me the concept of the queen bee was already there back in those days?
Oh yeah, I think that's where it first got talked about in manosphere terms. If really the nature of women, the public understanding of the nature of women in the red pill, every concept can be traced back historically to the blogosphere, the manosphere, that came about in the early to mid 2000s. Let's say 2002 to 2013, 14. Every concept we talk about today was talked about back then. Now, maybe there's been further development, but you can still go back and find the foundation of the discussion in those times.
Plutarch, did you have something you were going to say?
And I forgot what it was.
Yes.
Well, Steve, you were saying something interesting about how they would come in to the manosphere, and these men would, I don't know if flock to them is the right word, but these women would get this adoration from these men of, hey, look, there's finally a guy who's out here saying things that it's not just that I like to hear, but saying things that agree with me. It sounds to me like these women are actually going to defend me. Right.
Right. Yeah.
And what I was going to say about that was, I think that is just a female sexual selection strategy. Because if you're a smarter than average woman, and yes, I mean, we were talking about IQ last week, there are smarter than average women out there, right?
Right. They were. Yeah.
And they tended to be, right. So they're going to look at what all these other women are doing. They're going to look at the idiots on social media, and they're going to see us men clowning on those women, and they're going to go, I like what these men are talking about in terms of, masculine, and red pill men can be kind of catnip to women, right? You know, because they can actually play the game, they can actually do the masculine, you know.
A good portion of them, anyway.
Right, yeah. And so there are high value men sitting inside the manosphere. And if you're a woman, you're and you want access to that specifically, you're going to tell yourself, well, I'm not going to get there by being a standard feminist, you know, crowing about how, how much I hate men. Now, that's not going to work. But what if I just agree with the men? Because clearly these men are saying that they've never heard stuff like this before. They spend all their time clowning on women saying the other stuff.
I don't think it's that conscious that what
No.
if I agree with the men? I think they are well above average intelligent women. So therefore they gravitate to men who are above average intelligence, especially if their husband is kind of average. So they come in, they understand things at a much greater level than the average woman. They're articulate, they can write, they can speak, they can understand most of things at a base level, and they can spin it back, and then they can identify or pretend to identify with the problems and the discrimination and the divorce and the alienation of these guys, because these are smart, articulate men. And so the men are not gushing over these women about their beauty. They're just mostly engaging on a equal conversation basis. And then I'm sure there was plenty of times, oh man, I wish other women would get it the way you do. So they got the attention and praise that way, not for their beauty. Because the women who came in were probably in their 30s.
Right, but that's what I'm getting at here is if okay, but that actually kind of reinforces my point, because what you're saying is
Right,
okay,
yeah.
they're coming in, they are of above average intelligence, and they are, if they haven't hit the wall, are staring at it, rushing towards them very quickly, right? Okay, if you're that woman, you're going to look at the field and you're going to say, well, it's like what we were saying earlier about the church women, they 50, 60, they don't have their sexual ages anymore. So they have to come in and basically demand a sort of moral high ground. It would now in the manosphere, you're not going to demand a moral high ground, but if you come in, you say the right things, you tell the men what they want to hear. And even if you're married, because you were just talking about that chick who was out there cheating on her husband in Vegas, right? Okay, you're going to increase your opportunity to monkey branch with some fairly high value men by quite a bit in doing this.
It happened.
Oh, it did, and it still does. It still does.
Hey,
oh, yeah.
Let me raise my hand. I married a single mother that I met in the Manosphere blogs.
So it happened because you did it.
And there was another woman. Her name was Kate. And this was public knowledge, so it's in the past, but Kate married this Manosphere guy, Mark Minter. I never followed him, but my wife was friends with Kate. She had her daughter. They got married. Mark Minter was not a nice guy. I don't know if he's out of jail yet, but he was in jail for sexual impropriety with the daughter.
Okay.
Ugh.
Yeah, okay. I guess the guy had good game. He was much older than her too.
I'm hoping she was at least legal.
The what? The daughter?
Doesn't sound like it.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
no,
it doesn't sound.
no,
Oh gosh. So he
no.
was
It was
okay.
no. Ugly.
Oh, that's not good.
Here's the irony, though. Kate was not religious. So she reported him, and he was in all kinds of trouble. Then she bailed him out of jail, and I think she gave him money to get an apartment or something while he was fighting this.
Oh man.
This makes no sense. Versus, okay, my first wife was religious, threw me under the bus. Nothing was proven, nothing was real, and she wanted me in jail and dead, and nothing. The second wife
Man.
thought that worked pretty good. So she accused me of shit and just blasting, no sense at all. So somehow this moral superiority, the religious women actually demonize and persecute men, where the women who are actually victims often go to that guy's defense. It is a bizarre thing.
It is a common fact that's been exposed in the red pill community. They'll go back to these like documented, even perhaps even caught on camera, like just beat the snot out of these women, right? It's terrible that I'm in no way approving. I think it's evil, right? But what happens? They keep going back to the guy.
I mean, it's such a problem that even mainstream psychologists talk about it. So this is a very well-known thing. Women go back to the guy, and I suspect it's because, well, at least I know if he's willing to beat me like that, how much more so would he be willing to beat somebody else over me, like making advances at me, etc. And those guys do. Violent men are violent.
That's all true. But it's much more complicated than that, and I don't understand it.
All right. Well, we'll move forward since we're about an hour in. So get to point A. This shouldn't be too complicated. My point is, yes, what Steve says is true, and it still carries over, but now with YouTube and these social media, video, TikTok, Instagram, the queen bee has taken on a little bit more in a physical focus and also a following focus. But we'll start with queen bee attire. That's point A. You can have trad girl, you can have the girl next door, and you could have the cleavage and skimpy girl. Guys, you've seen them on YouTube, you've seen them on TikTok, you've seen them on Instagram. They'll be in the manosphere and RP space, and they are trying to attract a certain kind of man. I'm not saying this might be their own personal attire that they have, but the way they dress tends to be the message of the man they're trying to attract. Or the medium is the message. I'm trying to say that with the physical attire.
Well, but there's other things too. Tattoo chicks with lots of tattoos seem to attract certain types of men, usually also heavily tattooed, right? Who you are says a lot about who you want to be with.
True. A lot of these queen bees will also have
Yeah.
the high-end clothing too to attract they want the rich guy, right? So they have to attract. So a lot of times it'll be like high-end clothing, but cleavage and
Well,
skin
Nick,
floor.
Nick, that's an interesting point, though, because if you're the queen bee, particularly in the feminist mindset, you're signaling that you too are high status. So why wouldn't you deserve the highest of the high status, the highest of value men, right?
Right.
How about that sweet, innocent girl that's shown a lot of cleavage? She get attention from the men?
Of course they are. My point is they can dress, they get attention. The whole point is they dress in a certain attire to attract they have a motive. A lot of times there's a motivation behind the way they dress. And it's not just queen bees, it's pretty much any woman, right?
What about if they're like baking something?
You're talking about cake tits? Cake tits.
Yeah, I wanted you to say it, Nick.
All right, I'll say it. I mean, yeah. Yeah, there's what they present themselves to be, and then there's also who they are internally. So yeah, point A is real easy. It's just a observation. They come in all different shapes and sizes and dresses and lack of clothing. Uh, but this is probably the biggest point we're going to spend time on here. Then we'll get to the rest. Point B: queen bee traits and the masks they wear. Do they even know who they are?
I'm gonna say yes, because they know who they are, and they fear that who they really are is unlovable. But they desperately want love. So if they put on this mask, then they will be worthy and will be able to obtain love of a man or attention from many men. But surprisingly, that love is fake love because it's for a fake person, so it never satisfies, which is why they have to go on a journey eventually.
Okay.
They have to find themselves in an Indian yoga school in Goa, and they just seem to always find themselves hanging off these dudes' dicks. Like, come on.
Okay, well, what else do they do? So when we're coming from attire to traits and the masks they wear, a lot of times they'll appear as holy, sweet, and caring. Are you telling me they're not all holy, sweet, and caring? Eh, I'll say some might be. Okay. All right, whatever. What do you think?
Again,
Uh,
yes, I'm going to say yes, they are. Because they know their past, they reformed, they changed who they are because they're in a different phase of their life. And they truly, truly believe that they are this new person. And they can keep up this facade. They can lie to themselves about who they are for a period of up to 7 to 10 years. And
Okay.
eventually they can't maintain the facade, or reality hits, or they realize it's not satisfying, or they can't maintain it.
Yeah, that
And
makes sense.
so
I can see that with phases.
unconsciously, they don't know who they are, but they absolutely know that they're not lovable as they really are. So they completely delude themselves to be someone else for a period of time.
Okay, so in the movies I gave examples of, what do? They appear holy, sweet, and caring on the outside, but who are they really? Nasty on the inside. I'm not saying this is every queen bee, but it's a popular, common motif. Holy, sweet, and caring, and yeah, they might be thinking they want to change based on their phases, and that'll change too. They're nasty on the inside. They're deceitful, manipulative. These are women. They're the queen bee. They're not just a normal woman, right? Many times they could be a reformed slut, but they can also be this deceitful, manipulative, and extremely vicious if their reign or image is threatened.
Well, the
If
queen bee.
anyone
Or go ahead, Steve.
if anyone threatens to expose their true self, they become vicious.
Well, I was going to say, because Steve, yes, and also if anyone threatens to replace them, they can become vicious because the queen bee gets the most attention from the men and the women, but also that attention getting replaced means that you would then lose access to the top of the top dogs in whatever group they're trying to infiltrate. Right? There's a lot of reasons to defend your status as the top queen bee person.
Right. If they stop believing that she's all that and a bag of chips, they might start questioning things. So she better maintain her control and her dominance.
Do they ever want to be a student, though? This isn't a red pill manosphere, or you can even say the church, even. It's the same concept you can carry over in the church. And I'm going to bring up scripture here soon. Do they ever really want to be a student?
As in studying the manosphere or the church or whatever, right? It's in like learning.
Or from a man, especially?
Okay, again, I'm going to give you the answer you don't want to hear. Yes. They want to be a student to learn enough to repeat it back.
Okay.
Do they want to learn it enough to apply to their own life? No. Okay, that would require the trait of humility. They will be a student, but they will not be a student with humility.
Okay. Man, have I seen that in the church. And a lot of times they could be what? 90% right in what they're saying, right? They they could be repeating good information, even.
They can be 100% correct in what they say, but say it for the wrong intention or misapplied, and it can be entirely subversive.
What about their traits in interacting with men and their traits in interacting with women in this big, think of like mass media, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, their audience, right? Do they try to piss off all the women?
Yeah, that's a secondary effect. They try to dominate the other women. But their motivation is to manipulate all the men.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with
So-
Steve on that.
And dominating the other women, that's where the overt aggression, infighting, backbiting, backstabbing, that nature comes out. It's that domination, it's the competition between women is often vicious,
Well,
full of personal attacks.
so notice how the women who are competing for Queen Bee status in whichever group we're talking about, I've seen this in Manosphere, but I've also seen this in the church. They will talk to the men, right? They'll the women competing for Queen Bee, they'll talk to the men, no problem. They'll ask questions, so they'll do all of that. But they never talk directly to the other women in that space because there's always more than one woman. There was more than one woman, I don't know, 20 years ago or whenever Steve was doing this, even all the way back then. There's certainly more than one woman now. Right. They won't talk to the other women. They will talk past them. My personal favorite is when, so let's say one woman says something, the Queen Bee candidate will respond to that question without ever acknowledging that the woman is even there, much less the woman asked it. So they'll address. Here's my personal favorite. They'll address the answer to. You see this in like YouTube live streams. They'll address the answer to the YouTuber on screen that the other woman asked. Okay, because acknowledging that the other woman exists, acknowledge it would be to give her some sort of status in the area. This could be church
Join
too.
the plastic. You could join the plastic club. She doesn't want them all on her plastics. Plastic girl club.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Now, if you are a sycophant for the Queen Bee, then you can be in the plastics. Right? That's okay. Because you're not a threat. Because if you think about how that dynamic works, there's the Queen Bee, and then there's her mixed metaphors. There's her Praetorian Guard underneath. Those women are there to protect her from other women.
Ladies in waiting.
Yeah. Very old term for that, but yes.
Good. Well, I'm going to start applying what scripture says just to kind of the Queen Bee idea / the Jezebel idea. Because I think the Jezebel, she was a queen. She was a queen bee. And don't you dare attack her image and reputation. So I'll start with Isaiah 3, though. And I'll share the screen. This kind of talks of, wrong one. Share this tab instead. There you go. This talks about attire that also links to traits. This is one of my favorite verses I keep bringing up. Over the Lord saith, because the daughters of Zion are haughty. Notice the trait, haughty, in the behavior, and walk with stretched forth necks and wanton eyes, walking and mincing as they go, and making a tinkling with their feet. There's another motivation we've talked about, but I'll get to that later. Attention. They want attention on them, right? Okay. But their demeanor, the trait, is haughty. Okay. Now we get to Jezebel. So Jezebel was the queen of Israel under King Ahab. 1 Corinthians 18, verse 4. For it was so when Jezebel cut off the prophets of the Lord that Obadiah took 100 prophets and hid them by 50 in a cave and fed them with bread and water. Man, they must have felt her venom. She cut off the prophets of the Lord. They attacked who she was. How dare they? but notice her behavior. Very venomous, poisonous. 1 Kings 19, 1 through 3. And Ahab, that's her white knight king, told Jezebel all that Elijah had done, and with all how he had slain all the prophets with the sword. That's the wicked prophets, not the prophets of the Lord. Okay, then verse 2. Then Jezebel sent a messenger unto Elijah, saying, so let the gods do to me and more also, if I make not thy life as the life of one of them by tomorrow about this time. And when he saw that, he arose and went for his life, and came to Beersheba, which belonged to Judah, and left his servant there. Oh no, he was speaking out against her, attacking her place as the queen bee. How dare he? So she's going to defend her reputation with, quite literally, she wants to kill the prophet Elijah. 2 Kings 9, verse 22 through 37. This is a little long, but it's important. And it came to pass when Joram saw Jehu that he said, is it peace, Jehu? And he answered, what peace? So long as the whoredoms of thy mother Jezebel and her witchcrafts are so many. Keep going down. And I'll keep going. I'll skip down. And when Jehu was come to Jezreel, Jezebel heard of it, and she painted her face and tired her head and looked out at a window. And Jehu entered in at the gate. She said, had Zimri peace who slew his master? And he lifted up his face to the window and said, who is on my side? Who? And there looked out to him 2 or 3 eunuchs. And he said, throw her down. So they threw her down, and some of her blood was sprinkled on the wall and on the horses, and he trode her underfoot. And when he was come in, he did eat and drink, and said, go, see now this cursed woman, and bury her, for she is a king's daughter. And when they went to bury her, but they found no more than the skull and the feet and the palms of her hands. Wherefore they came again and told him, and he said, this is the word of the Lord, which he spake by his servant Elijah the Tishbite, saying, in the portion of Jezreel shall dogs eat the flesh of Jezebel. And the carcass of Jezebel shall be as dung upon the face of the field in the portion of Jezreel, so that they shall not say, this is Jezebel.
Yeah, okay.
Ooh.
That fate doesn't happen to most queen bees.
No.
But parts of this are true.
That's my
when
point.
A woman decides to divorce you, she's going to feign moral superiority. You become her opponent. She will become absolutely vicious to the point of wanting you dead, literally dead, enslaved, that's child support, even beyond your income. It doesn't matter what's fair, what you're able to pay, it's slavery. And or wanting you incarcerated, put in jail, and setting up traps for you to put you in jail, like restraining orders, and then enticing you, well, maybe we need to get together for this. Yeah, then you get together because she invited it, and then she calls the cops, and you're there, and you get arrested, and you go to jail because you violated it, even though she enticed you. Hey, this happens. Didn't happen to me, but it was tried.
Oh, yeah. That's what they do. And notice how she paints her face. She's put on a mask that she wears to entice the next man for her own safety and position. Anyways,
or
there's also
to entice her Praetorian Guard. the judge, the social workers, the police. She feigns innocence and victimhood, puts on this mask and to paint the man as the bad guy, to enact violence against the man by using proxy force. It's not ever at her own hands. But she will use force to maintain her status. And her status is necessary to hide her guilt, and in order to avoid being criticized, she has to paint the man as evil incarnate.
I'm going to get
Nick,
to probably...
am I stating this too strongly?
No, I'm going to get to like the daughter. There's a debate whether this is the daughter of Jezebel or granddaughter of Jezebel, but she repeats some of the vicious behavior in the next verses, guys. Okay. Steve's right. They will defend their position very and extremely viciously. And sometimes they'll put on the mask of this innocent, beautiful, angelic person. I'm not sure if Athaliah did that, but the vicious behavior of being a queen bee certainly applies in her case. 2 Kings chapter 11 says, and when Athaliah, the mother of Ahaziah, saw that her son was dead, she arose and destroyed all the seed royal. But Jehosheba, the daughter of King Joram, sister of Ahaziah, took Joash, the son of Ahaziah, and stole him from among the king's sons which were slain. And they hid him, even him and his nurse, in the bedchamber from Athaliah, so that he was not slain. Vicious queen bees. They hold on to power sometimes at any cost. Oh, and where is this repeated? Where's the new King Ahab and the new Elijah and the new Jezebel? Oh, yeah, it's repeated in the Gospels with John the Baptist, who is Elijah, basically. Not the same person, but he takes on the prophetic ministry of Elijah to prepare the way of the Lord. Okay, Matthew chapter 14. At that time, Herod the Tetrarch heard of the fame of Jesus, and he said unto his servants, this is John the Baptist. He is risen from the dead, and therefore mighty works do show forth themselves in him. And it gives the background for this story. For Herod had laid hold on John and bound him and put him in prison for Herodias' sake, his brother Philip's wife. For John said unto him, it's not lawful for thee to have her. And he would have put him to death. And when he would have put him to death, he feared the multitude because they counted him as a prophet. But when Herod's birthday was kept, the daughter of Herodias danced before them and pleased Herod. Whereupon he promised with an oath to give her whatsoever she would ask. And she, being before instructed of her mother, said, give me here John Baptist's head in a charger. And the king was sorry. Nevertheless, for the oath's sake, and them which sat with him at meat, he commanded it to be given her. And he sent and beheaded John in the prison. And his head was brought in a charger and given to the damsel, and she brought it to her mother.
Let me point something out here in our modern world. Unfortunately, most men are going to agree with me. A wife rebels against her husband and divorces him and alienates the children from him and raises her daughters in that rebellious environment. What kind of people are the daughters going to be? So men
Raised
are
mother.
lamenting, where are all the good women? They were raised by rebellious mothers. What kind of women are the daughters? Rebellious, promiscuous daughters. Gee, have we seen this manifestation or this template in the Bible? I think so. So are you surprised at the state of modern women who are raised by rebellious modern single mothers? Man, this is a nasty conclusion that I've come to. But I think it's probably true.
Yeah. I agree with you there. Generally, if they're raised by a nasty mother, the daughters will be nasty too. This queen bee, she was a woman of standing. And man, this prophet dared to tell her the truth, threaten her position and her image. And she had her simp behead him.
And I want to point something out here. The queen bees always have simps.
Yes.
They're
That's
not
point
interested. Oh well, okay.
No,
but-
keep going. It's fine. We go.
Well, but remember, just like in an actual beehive, the queen has drones that they do nothing but serve her. There are. I mean, that's different from the worker bees. The worker bees are the builders. They go out to collect things. There are drones that do nothing but serve her. Okay. Those drones are simps. Okay. The queen bee of the manosphere doesn't want the simps any more than than a regular woman wants the simps. And kind of the sad thing about this is you will watch red pill men simp for a woman simply because she says the right things. To which I have to go, if that's your choice in life, is to simp for the queen of the red pill, are you really red pill, or are you just sort of following along with the bits you like? You haven't really accepted the truth in your heart. And the church, oh God, could we talk about the simps in the church simping for these matriarchal queen types? Oh, I saw so much of that growing up. Even then, I always just kind of looked at it and I said, I didn't understand all the red pill stuff. I'm talking, I'm a preteen type. And I'm like, what is wrong with these men that sit up here and defend these women? It's like, there's nothing, certainly there's nothing in the Bible about it that I had heard to that point. It's like, well, okay, why are they doing this?
I'll tell you why. It goes to the next one. The last Jezebel. So this is the church of Thyatira, Revelation chapter 2. Notwithstanding, I have a few things against thee, because thou sufferest that woman Jezebel, which calleth her a prophetess, to teach and to seduce my servants to commit fornication and to eat things sacrificed unto idols. Well, apparently she might have been pretty good looking, She might have said some few good things. She is up there in her own self-proclaimed queen bee status. She was a prophetess, she called herself. She was a woman of seduction and fornication. These men were simps because they sufferedest that woman Jezebel. man, this kind of happened to me when I was in the Orthodox Presbyterian Church, and some other men, man, we started saying these women need to shut up and stop teaching this crap. It's going to lead to fornication and idolatry. Oh, you bad man. We're going to put you under church discipline. We're going to send the simp army after you because you were not willing to just simp for this Jezebel or these Jezebels. Like what you're saying, Plutarch. Yeah. This happens occasionally in the history of the church, and it happened even here in the New Testament, in the book of Revelation.
Okay, it happens. It's written occasionally in the history of the church, but this happens so God-forsakenly everywhere in the church right now.
Yeah.
It's like we took the occasionality of in the Bible, and we read the Bible and we said, oh, the Bible isn't telling us to not do this. The Bible is giving us a plan, a blueprint that we should follow here. And I'm just like, no. You don't have to listen to the woman. You don't. It's okay. Nothing bad will happen to you if you don't listen to the queen bee.
I'm not going to say that. What happened to John the Baptist?
Well, fair.
What happened to me? What happened to Michael Spangler? What happened to the guy at the Daily Genevan? Yeah.
Okay, spiritually, nothing bad will happen to you.
True.
Nick, should I share my analysis of the factions in the church? I told you last night.
Do what you want to do. Do what you want to do.
My analysis is of the modern church. I think it's more true. Well, it's more easily seen on the Protestant side, but I think it's equally true in the Catholic. It's just not easily seen. You have factions. You have the Zionist, evangelical, dispensationalist faction. Okay, you know what those churches are. Then there's another type of church, rainbow, egalitarian, feminist. You know what those kind of churches are. And then the group, okay, we don't associate. Us three don't really associate or identify over there. Then you have what I'm bringing up a new term tonight, the trad cosplay.
Okay. Oh, God, yes. Oh, God.
Okay, so those are the three main factions. Then, okay, in the Bible, they talk about the remnant. Who is the remnant?
Oh,
Those
it's
are
the
the
patriarchalists. Yeah.
Think about this. See if it fits. Think about it for a couple days, and if you come up with something else, that's fine. It's just my way of understanding the church and why, the three of us are patriarchalists, and why we take issue with the TradCon or the trad cosplay group. Because it's not really patriarchal in a lot of ways. They're just pretending. And it's egalitarian light.
I don't even know if they're pretending, Steve. I think they honestly believe, as in pass a lie detector test, that this is what the Bible says to do. That because I'm thinking about this phenomenon that happens. I've seen it more clearly in the red pill, but I know it happens in the church too. It's just not as obvious. Is a group of men will say, but if we don't have a woman to speak our truth, people won't listen to us. Right? People listen to women, not other men. And the thing is that they're not entirely wrong in terms of the data. Like as we were saying earlier, people, men particularly, yeah, we kind of want to listen to women. We like listening to women. We want to hear women agree with us. But they take that and turn that around to as, well, yeah, we can say these things at men, but if the women say it for us, so many more people will listen. And what that I think that turns into this sort of pedestalization of women without, I mean, even men of frame start pedestalizing the queen bee because she's quote unquote so effective at delivering the message. And it's sort of like the message becomes more important than demonstrating good masculine roles and values and actions. And in doing so, you can give up your frame to the queen bee, which is what she wants, right? Because remember, in all cases, how do women determine whether or not you're a man of value? If you simp for the woman, if you submit to her frame, she knows you're not. So they use this strategy outside of the red pill, but the thing is that it's working inside the red pill too. You have these groups of men who will align themselves, and this has been going on a long time. Steve will tell you stories back from his days as 7-man.
Wait, hold on. The conservatives, political conservatives,
yes,
who use reason,
yes,
to determine their beliefs.
Yes,
they wouldn't fall for this. Wait, hold on. Oh, damn! Fox News. Fox. Oh man, they just put women on Fox News to read all the news.
Mm-hmm.
And the conservatives just flocked to Fox News to believe and watch the beautiful women.
Right. So the point here is not to say, oh, the red pill's bad for doing this, and no, the church does this too. This is a problem with male behavior. This is us talking to the men saying, knock it off, because when we as men behave this way, even if we say, oh yeah, we need to be patriarchalists, oh yeah, we, men first, father primary custody, these are all great things. But when you turn around and you pedestalize the queen bee, you undo all of that messaging for any man of any rational frame at all, even a moderate, minimal rational. He's going to look at that and go, you're saying all these good things, and then you immediately turn around and pedestalize this woman. And then they go, are you lying about this? Are you making this up to sell me something? Because there are a lot of red pill creators who sell stuff alongside their work. And so a man coming in can look at this and say, oh, but you pedestalize women. You say that women are everything. Women are the most important thing of life. I have heard red pill men say that, typically out of the PUA side of the red pill. Okay, so what you're telling me is that I'm not even just the word alpha. You're telling me that you have no frame. Okay, you submit your frame to women, both individually and as a group, in order to get what you want. Okay, but then you're going to turn around and tell men, oh, well, don't do that. And here, by the way, buy my book that tells you how not to do that. But then they see you turning around and pedestalizing the women. That is not strong men shit. That's weak men shit, guys. That's what weak men do. And the men who are coming in and trying to look at our, look for answers to the very real problems they have, they're going to see that and they're going to go, oh, you're a insert one of liar, grifter, etc. Right? What use are you to those men? Those men are not interested in building you up to pedestalize these women and become the strongest man who can, take the queen bee, so to speak.
This is why the church is kind of dying. Attendance is just going down among the young people. Okay, I explained those groups or my divisions. Evangelical churches are dying because young men are not coming in there. No, I'm not buying into this baloney. They're not, the young, solid men are not going to the rainbow faction. And we're in the red pill, and we understand the disdain a lot of these younger men have for the TradCons. So the message is just not getting, the church message is not getting to these younger men.
So
they're voting with their feet.
Yeah, well, and inside the red pill, we're seeing something too. Shu left this fantastic comment. MGTOWs don't tend to cede that control, though many are too spiritually crippled by doomerism. Yeah, Shu, this is exactly it. The MIG, and here's the thing: of when you look at the people who are saying, "Oh, I'm not red pill anymore," I don't associate with those. They tend to be the MGTOW people, right? I think what happened is the MGTOW people realized that, or the MGTOW faction realized that other parts of the red pill, and I'm not saying that all parts of the red pill do this, but they were looking at other parts of the red pill and they were going, wait a minute, your actions aren't matching your words here. You are saying, oh, you have to be rational, you have to be, you have to maintain frame, you can't ever, give up, you can't ever submit yourself to women, but then you immediately go out and start simping for women because, oh, but women are the most important thing ever. Like there's this belief amongst some red pill guys that the ultimate definition of your masculinity is your notch count. And the MGTOWs are saying, wait a minute, that's not the definition of man isn't how many boxes you've stuck your pecker up. And it isn't. They're right.
I just realized this. Maybe the red pill is dying too. Now look, have we made any inroads or alliances with the Chinese red pill, the Japanese red pill?
Not that I'm aware of.
The Korean red pill.
These exist, by the way.
Do these even exist? No. What's going on in those cultures? Chinese MGTOW? Hell yes.
Yep.
There's
huge. Oh yeah.
Korean MGTOW? Yep.
Massive.
Japanese MGTOW? Yep.
I think we said many streams ago that the only way we would solve really any of the major problems in the world, birth rate, etc., was to accelerate the decline. I think it was even the title of the stream we were talking about this in, if you want to go look back. And one of the things we said was you cannot, that the fastest way to accelerate the decline is to convince men to go MGTOWs, to convince men specifically, especially the men that women want, those high value, high, not just high net worth, but also high masculinity men to say, I'm not dealing with any of you. I'm going to literally go off and do my own thing. And all you women, even the good ones, will be left crying.
And look, I don't hate any man that says finds a good woman and wants to marry her. But there are risks. Even if you think you got you a good trad wife that's young and low body count, look, yeah, it might be good for a time. There's no guarantee. She might just flip the switch and throw you under the bus with all the
Well,
it's
okay, I'm going to defend that woman, kind of. She might be a good wife, but you marry her, you just put poison in your life. The poison is not from the woman, it's from the state. The state gave her all the power in the marriage. And then she's got all the propaganda, the feminist world, her girlfriends, the temptations, and all that she can use the power against the man. Traditionally, historically, men had retained the power even in marriage. And men kind of know how to use power in a benevolent way, use mercy and compassion, and not be vindictive. You give women power, too much power, it's too damn tempting. And how do even the best woman can fall to the temptation of having that power and listening to the wrong people, because she's going to get emotional. And then when she's emotional, she'll start doing something or instigating something. Then all her female friends will encourage her. And at that point, to back out of that, she would have to acknowledge that she's wrong. That would be taking accountability, which, sorry guys, it's not likely to happen. So, just by virtue of getting married, not the religious institution of marriage, the civil marriage, because the crap that comes with that is poison.
absolutely.
All
right.
It is. Go ahead, Nick.
Move to point C. We've talked about the traits, the masks that they wear, and all that of the queen bee. Now, queen bee goals and motivations. Point C.
So Alex left a good comment here. It's a 3-part comment. Funny thing you guys said, that a group needs to have a woman to help spread the message. So back in 2000 or 2001, I can't remember, a study came out that stated when men hear a female voice, then the side of the brain that gets stimulus by music reacts just the same to female voices. It's true. And so this is what I find. It's a personally vexing problem, because the people who say, oh, well, we need to have female voices that will increase our reach, they're not wrong. The trouble is the women they pick tend to be these queen bee types who are not restrained by a man. They're either here looking for, they're usually at the queen bee because they're looking for a guy, right? Or the men themselves will not elevate that kind of woman to be that voice. And frequently the kind of women that you want to be the voice that people listen to are the kind of women that have no interest in being that woman. So your options are always only ever women that can't actually close the loop, seal the deal, well, whatever metaphor you want to use, on getting women to, on getting people to listen. Now, are there women out there who can do it? Yes. But they're not the queen bee. I can actually think of a couple names in the red pill space of women who've actually been reasonably successful at it. But the one thing I can tell you about them is they not only are they not the queen bee, they have no interest in being the queen bee. We're not naming names on this show, so I won't name them, but you guys can probably figure out who I'm talking about.
It's
Okay.
it's not worth it to those women
Yes.
because they step in, they get some attention, they say what they're saying, they're going to get a whole bunch of attacks and whatnot. And they're not really looking for praise. So it's only downside for them. It's only work and burden and worry and drama that no, they don't need it. And they're not convincing anybody because all they get is attacked by the other women because they're a minority. So it's not worth it. And yeah, it's women, good women, just, well, any woman, a burden will wear out a woman and destroy her beauty. So smart women don't take on burdens that they shouldn't bear.
Okay. Well, what is a motivation or goal of a queen bee then? You know, what are the in the manosphere? Of course, it can be elsewhere too, but I got a bunch listed. Well, like 6 listed, but who
Well,
wants to
I
put
would
one out
say immediately there's 2 goals that I have seen in the manosphere. The first one is just simple adoration, what all women want.
there?
All women
Attention or
want.
adoration? Or same thing.
Kind of the same thing to a woman. The other, of course, is they're looking to monkey branch. Now, attention,
Ooh, that's
they will
another one I
take.
had written.
Right, they will take the women will always take attention. Like that is built into their core psyche. So even if a woman is looking to monkey branch, she will also take all the attention you give her. If a woman is not looking to monkey branch, she will still take all the attention that you could give to her. Right? They love that stuff. They live for it. But the other one I
Maybe
have
not-
seen is women looking to monkey branch, looking for. Oh, well, Steve described one earlier tonight where they did that. That
Right.
was she got that.
Well, it could be monkey branching, or they don't have a man; they're just looking for a man.
Yeah, that's
that's-
another valid. Yeah.
But they usually had a man beforehand, and they're trying to. Well, I want to do it different this time. I want to masculine.
Kind of
man.
all
And I can
it
have
kind of
my
all
dick
falls
with all
into the
this.
category of manipulate or control men. And getting a man falls into manipulating or controlling a man or causing him to pick you. That's the same thing. Or finding a better man is manipulating or controlling or putting on a mask to entice another man so you have the option. It's all about manipulation and control. Or maybe you just want to make that a subset of the way you described it. Either way, they kind of go together.
So a man, monkey branching, attention. Do they want credit?
I haven't seen much of that. Most of what I see is that the women they very rarely, if ever, credit the men, but they don't generally seem to want to take credit for it. And I think that might be because there is a risk to them where not just if the men say, hey, wait, I actually came up with that. But if you take credit for something, that also puts a target on your back from the people who don't like what you said. Right?
To the extent they do want credit, it's a proxy for attention or
Yeah.
adoration.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Elena put one in here that's actually probably true for some of them at any rate. This is a variation on intention. They're looking to increase their follower count, basically. And some women, and hey, yeah, being the queen bee will absolutely
It's
do
another
that
word.
for you.
So
Yeah.
clout and attention kind of go together too, as well. So that was another one I put. So they want to be
Yeah.
the popular girl.
Oh, absolutely.
High school never ends.
For women, high school never ends.
Oh man, true. Well, what about money?
Hmm.
Do you guys think money's a factor?
Well, if it is, then they're in the wrong place because there's not exactly a whole lot of money flowing around the manosphere. And even in like the church, they don't really do it for money. I think some might, but attention is the core of the female world, and if you can get paid for it, that is nice too, right? Like women are not going to say no to more money. No, don't hear
That's
what
a
I'm not saying.
secondary, kind of
It,
just like a secondary or tertiary.
yeah,
Okay.
right. You
That
can use the money that you get to maintain your own. You could use it to maintain independence from all men, which is useful to the queen bee, because the queen bee needs to, in the red pills, this isn't as true in the church for social cultural reasons, but the queen bee needs to maintain the veneer that she is available to the strongest man. She's to maintain that sort of visual, right? And so the money can provide her a bridge, but even then it's a secondary thing of like getting to that point where now she's got a man to take care of her. I don't think in the church or the red pill the women come here thinking that they're going to get rich off this.
Okay.
Do women ever really care about money?
No, on the
Well,
basis of how they
or-
spend it without thinking about it.
Or if a woman has money, she'll go out and buy a designer handbag. Not because of the utility of that handbag. It's because it will gain her attention and clout among others. So it's what money can do for her, not the money itself.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. I agree. What about, do they act? Here's an idea. Are they actually in it to help men?
Do you want me to laugh?
Well, I think some might say, yeah, I want to help men. But is it
Are we talking about
really
the
about
queen?
Queen bee?
Right.
Yeah. Or
Because-
queen bees, and they're buying replacements,
Right. So the queen bees, no, they don't care about helping men because they care about being in order to be the queen bee, you have to care about being the queen bee more than you have to care about men, because you have to put all your energy into that. Again, there are women in the red pill, in the church, etc., who do not care about being the queen bee. Those women, they may actually try to help. Now, again, we can, talk about, really how much help can you get from a woman about man's issues? That's an education problem with men, particularly because we've raised ourselves in such a gynocentric society that men are default, going to think that way. But the queen bee, I don't see how they could help men at all. And again, there will be people who say, "Oh, but we need somebody that men will listen to get our message out there." But these women can't help men. They can be mouthpieces. They could, at best, they could be messaging. But even then, there is a omnipresent corruption that happens to men when they are around women that they like. And if they like a woman well enough to make her the queen bee, they are going to be corrupted by her no matter what. Yeah.
Their frame will be corrupted. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Their frame will be corrupted. So
let me say something in general. First about mankind, then about men and women. In general, there's a minority of people that are altruistic, looking out for the well-being of others and society. There's a certain percentage of men who are altruistic for society. Most men are altruistic towards their family, their wife and children. There are extremely few women, not zero, but extremely few women who are altruistic towards society. And there's a decent number of women who are altruistic towards their husband and family. But in all cases, the altruism trait in women is less frequent than the altruism trait in men. And altruism is a trait that's totally missing from queen bees.
Completely agree, because you couldn't become a queen bee altruistically. You have, in order to be the queen bee, you have to be so dominant, so aggressive. So you have to put. That's actually a great word. Great for men understand self-sacrifice comes with the authority of husbandry, but that concept of self-sacrifice, the queen bee, in order to be the queen bee, cannot sacrifice the self.
Well done. I didn't think of that. Well done. Yeah, so the queen bee can't be self-sacrificial to be a queen bee. Otherwise, she ceases to be the queen bee.
Correct.
That's something men do.
Right. Men will sacrifice themselves for in order to lift up, protect, etc., their family, their nation, their religion, whatever the thing it is. Men will. Women frequently don't. Again, as Steve said, yes, there are some, but it's actually been well known that men are the more altruistic, men are the most romantic, men are the most loving gender and sex. See what I did there.
For any women out there watching, don't be offended, because I said there is a possibility there are some women out there. And guess what? Each woman who's watching this, you might be that unicorn, that woman who really cares and is altruistic. So, yeah, that makes you an exceptional woman.
Right.
Oh, great. And now they're all going to think they are, Steve.
Well, and this is where.
Well, I
Go
want
ahead.
to add a slight addendum to what Steve said there. Women, you do not get to make this judgment. That judgment is reserved for the men as to whether or not you meet this standard. And men only. Other women cannot make this judgment for you either.
If other women
Point-
tell that to you, they're just blowing smoke up your skirt.
Yep.
Oh, point D. This is where you get self-reflective. Well, I don't expect that of the women, especially the queen bees, but where is the man in the picture in this space?
Can there be a man in the picture and of the queen bee?
Yes. He's always a servant.
Ah, so what you're saying is he's the chief
He's the
drone.
inadequate husband. He's her head cheerleader.
So he's the chief drone then. He is the
Yes.
drone that organizes the other
best.
drones. Okay.
At best.
Okay, so
I
Queen, go ahead. Go ahead.
I said she's actually, if she has a man, she's dissatisfied with her man. So there's two things she's looking for: to idealize and fix, or monkey branch, the second one.
In general, women have contempt for any man that is not dominant. And if he's so weak that he cannot dominate her, he's contemptuous.
Contemptible.
Contemptible. Okay, yeah. That's the word.
Now, not all queen bees will have men. But if they do have men and that man is shown publicly, that man will always be kept in a subservient position to her. Okay. There's lots of different ways this could show up. Elena's been beating me up to do a show on body language. I had to listen to that all weekend. It can be very subtle, and much of the body language stuff would apply to pretty much anything, red pill and relationships. But just because the husband is there, note he is always the subservient one, the quiet one. It's her show, right? Nick, I'm gonna let you decide what to do with that one, Nick. I know who that is.
Guilty as charged. Yeah, I fell asleep on a Discord call. Yeah, it happens. Okay, but yeah, the body language, the man's there, but he's not really there, and batting the eyelashes, the expressive body language.
The cleavage.
Oh, yeah. Is she really satisfied with her man? Probably not. Note his absence or his relative quietness and lack of dominance. She might be looking to upgrade. And the more clout and attention she gets, the bigger pool of men to select from that are pouring into her DMs.
And here's the thing. We know for an absolute fact that now, okay, you use DMs in the church. In the church, it would be Facebook DMs, but
I've seen it.
yeah. Okay, in the red pill, it'd be Instagram DMs, but we know for a fact that red pill dudes will go into to the DMs of women and try to pick them up. Their game is better, all that. Okay.
Hold on. The PUA red pill guys.
Yes, the MGTOWs wouldn't do that. That's true. But yeah, we know for a fact that those guys are in the DMs of these women in the red pill. We know for a fact.
So these women are advertising. They're low-hanging fruit. There's a lot of men who will take advantage of low-hanging fruit. And the women who exhibit this, are they consciously monkey branching? Not necessarily.
Yeah, I wouldn't assume so.
They might be doing this because something's missing. They're unconsciously doing this behavior. And if the opportunity presents, then only at that point does it become a conscious idea. Well, gee, I could. Women do things without knowing why they do things, but yet there's still a reason.
Yeah, it would be like gee, I could happens thousands of messages later when the proposition is finally presented and she's already heavily emotionally invested in the new relationship. And then she goes, well, I could. And then the justifications for why it's okay. Yeah.
It's
yeah.
just coffee.
Yeah.
Hey, man, don't worry. Oh, I'm married, right? I have a boyfriend, right? Oh, how about you just come over for coffee?
It's only a conference in Vegas. I swear we're only meeting up because we have things we agree about and we need to discuss those things. In parentheses, while you're getting your back blown out.
It's just an innocent collaboration.
Yep.
Yep, that video. Yep, that's what I was referring to.
Well, on any collaboration Elena does outside of you two guys, and even then I'm aware of what you guys are doing, I'm either in the background or I am on stream with her. I've been party to all of the ones she's done outside of her standard Saturday show.
Right. All right. We're almost getting to them on point E, the question of female narcissism. Now, look, I'm not a professional psychologist. I'm just sharing an article. If I can present my screen, I took it off the screen for some reason. And there we go. This is point E. This is Peter Wright's post. He goes up here. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but performative femininity of TradCon women is often a manifestation of narcissism. He's got a bunch of points, blah, blah, blah. I'll read point 3. Narcissistic women are more likely to engage in highly curated and sexualized social media activity to seek validation and attention. This behavior aligns with the concept of performative femininity, where appearance and presentation are instrumentalized, and he gives a source there. Talks about cultural shifts, has amplified this. Sex appeal. Traditional femininity can be emasculated for some narcissistic women. It's this mask is used to manipulatively to preserve inflated self-image and elicit male attention. Gives a source. I'll go to the summary. Female narcissists often use performative femininity, especially appearance, sexualization, and traditional gender performance to attract attention and admiration. This is particularly evident in social media behavior, romantic dynamics, and self-presentation strategies.
Preservation. Or no. It says presentation.
Presentation. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, if you as a woman think I guess it's kind of apply to men too, given what we see in other arenas. If you think that you deserve the title of Queen Bee, there's a little bit of narcissism built into just making that assumption.
Right.
Now, I like
Oh.
this phrase, performative femininity. I love it. Go
I
ahead,
have
Steve.
no proof of this, but my theory, and I've said this before, women lie about one thing, and it's in three forms: IPA, infidelity, promiscuity, abortion. That's in their past. Women avoid accountability. Therefore, they keep this secret and they lie about it. But that guilt pervades them. That is called baggage. They get in a relationship. This guilt just gnaws at them. But they have this mask. They put on this mask to get the man, to get his love and all that. And Queen Bee is a mask. This is just so much burden that this guilt just festers within her and creates all kinds of mental issues of the cluster B type. Borderline, narcissism, histrionic, those are the three of the four. What's the fourth one? 8. I forget what the fourth one is. Those three cover most of female traits. And oftentimes, it's hard to say, well, is she borderline? Or is she narcissistic? Is she BPD or NPD? Those things are kind of there's a fuzzy line between them. And they're, it's not, okay, the DSM does define it, but this is a growing area. Why are women so nuts today?
Okay.
And why do they divorce so much? It's the baggage. I believe it's the baggage that comes from IPA guilt, which they will never tell anybody because they avoid accountability.
So Elena put it's antisocial personality. That's the fourth one you were looking for. Look, parsing out which variant of Axis 2 it is, leave that to the head shrinkers, the people who are trained how to do this. All you as a man need to know is that they have an Axis 2 disorder. Which one it is, that is actually a trap.
Let me correct that again. You don't need to diagnose them. You just need to acknowledge the behavior.
Yeah.
And how it's impacting you. I see this behavior. I'm not qualified to diagnose whether she has it, but I am qualified to diagnose what the behavior and how it's feeling and impacting me. That's all you can do, and that's enough.
Right. And that's why I say, it's just, it's some Axis 2 thing. You don't have to worry about what it is. Just don't bother. It's, this is an Axis 2 thing. It's a her problem and it's impacting me. So peace, I'm out. Right. It doesn't matter what it is.
In order to educate yourself, you may have to read some books about NPD or BPD to understand the dynamics. Because I tell you, when you're in it, and if you you don't know where solid ground is. Your brain is just messed up, and she's pretending to be normal to everybody else. But she's not normal to you. Nothing makes sense. And just understanding her behavior and acknowledging it. No, you don't fucking know your butt from a hot rock during those times.
So, okay,
And the more you try to grasp it, the more you don't. Oh my God.
Well, right. So my advice to men on this would be very simple. If you are in a situation where what Steve is describing, she's behaving normal around other people, and then it's all insane around you, and you can't figure it out. In that moment is not the time or place to try to figure it out. Pick your ass up, get your ass out the building, leave, and then if you are so inclined later, you can go research what was going on. Okay. Most of the time, it's actually not that interesting what was specifically going on. Pick yourself up, get yourself out.
I'll tell you, I'll affirm that. You will not figure it out while you're in the situation. After getting away, it was bad the first time. She had a lot of BPD traits, behaviors. It was probably 2 years before I gained my sense of self-worth, self-trust, realized, no, my behavior is moral. I'm a good person. Okay, this is reality. And it was study and self-reflection. It was 2 years. Second marriage, there were covert narcissistic behaviors. It still took me 6 to 9 months to process through and figure out what the hell was going on. You cannot do it while you're inside that dynamic. Nick, you'd probably say something similar, right?
Yeah. Why is everything so crazy? Why can't anything ever be rationally worked out? You can never wrap your head around it except that you're F, basically.
So how long after your separation did you regain your sanity? I'm paraphrasing there. You
understanding the other person, probably within a few months, then knew more after about a year. You realize that person's effing crazy. That was what you figured out, and I have peace without that craziness in my life. Yeah, then you start figuring out what it might have been. Yeah, it probably took another year or so. Yeah. Because the information just wasn't out there. Just like, this is just not normal. This is not right. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So, it takes you a few months to kind of get your feet back under you and then to fully process it a year to 2 years.
Yeah. So my point of bringing up that was just to kind of, it could be a thing that these queen bees have. And that's point E. Now we'll go to point F. This is the simp army of thirsty men. What happens is a lot of these queen bees have these followers, a lot of men that they don't have access to women, but hey, they might have a shot with this decent looking, perhaps really pretty queen bee that's saying all the right things. Man, if I could just be her boyfriend, it'd be so great. This is the mentality a lot of these guys have. And but she's so pretty. How could she do any wrong? She says all the right things. She's pretty. Oh, they're going to defend me, lady.
This guy is also known as a beta orbiter.
Yes. And I want to bring up Rollo real quick here.
Okay.
I'll switch screens, share this tab. So I got this quote. I was trying to find the best format to put it on here because it gave me a weird format for my Kindle version. Rollo says, and this is book The Rational Male. So with the firm understanding that their behaviors will, for the most part, be excused. That's women. They are free to practice the feminine form of plate theory unhindered by social reprisal. The feminine plate spinning involves much more than sex, though. Remember, attention is the coin of the realm in female society. The capacity to command attention determines self esteem, peer status, sexual selectivity, and a host of other factors in a woman's life. So spinning plates becomes more than just a which guy am I going to get with tonight prospect. This dynamic and even these factors are what makes women natural plate spinners. Even when a woman has no intention of ever becoming sexual with a maybe guy, his attention still has some value to her. It appeals to the long-term perspective for security. That's a continuous subroutine running in her hindbrain. This is a rudimentary psychology behind hypergamy. Now combine all this with women's native language, covert communication, and it's natural for a man to assume that a woman will only ever become sexual with one guy at a time. This serves the latent purpose of keeping him in a kind of stasis. If he assumes women will only be sexual under the precondition of comfort and commitment, she is free to spin plates, essentially weighing options as she pleases and sample at will what she sees as in her hypergamic best interest at the time. If the carrot looks good enough, the guy will patiently pull the cart until such a time as another better carrot comes along. Either way, he's in that stasis. If a guy were to see her social and psychological machinations for what they are, he'd never pull the cart. So it serves women best that men think commitment should always be required for intimacy, even in the face of her behavior directly contradicting this. They're white knights. A lot of these queen bees have
I
these
can't
white
argue
knights
with that.
and simps, these beta orbiters.
Thirsty. Nice
They're
guys.
thirsty. Hmm.
Not dominant men.
No.
They're drones. They will serve her. Show her how sensitive and how he believes her. And he will go to fight for her, even metaphorically kill for her.
Yes. Like Jezebel's people, like Ahab, like Herod the Tetrarch, and like in Jezebel Thyatira in Revelation chapter 2, which I will share right here. Notwithstanding, I have a few things against thee, because thou sufferest that woman Jezebel, which calleth herself a prophetess, to teach and to seduce my servants to commit fornication, to eat things sacrificed unto idols. Attention, beauty, and a host of men at her beck and call. But these men are beta orbiters. They do not have a spine. And they will be used to protect me lady as white knights and simps, as her little drones, to prop up Queen Jezebel or the queen bee. Now, am I saying all queen bees are horrible and all that? No, but it is a common motif. So that's point F, the simp army of thirsty men. Are you thirsty men, gentlemen? Probably if you're watching this channel, probably not. But this is the reality. And you see this even in the manosphere, supposedly alpha men, yet they're drawn into these queen bees. And they still simp, and they'll be their beta orbiters. And it happens also in the church. Now, my
I
last
think
point. Oh, go
I,
ahead.
I was just going to say, I think that people think that there's something fundamentally different between what goes on in the church and what goes on in the red pill because of all the accoutrement around the church and the differences in how the females behave. Because the church, but it really just comes down to the fact that the church has, different social norms than the red pill does, and the women are merely adapting themselves to that society, culture, whatever you want to call it. The underlying thing that is driving the queen bee in either camp stays the same.
Exactly. Their goals and motivations and their traits pretty much are universal across the board.
You're going to see
Yeah.
you're going to see it exhibited differently in different parts of the church.
Right.
If you consider the rainbow, egalitarian, feminist side, they will be the ultra woke women. Might be vegan, animal rights, environmentalists, global warming, alarmists, whatever.
Well, in
Gender
relation,
rights. Okay, so you're going to serve that kind of woman in the evangelical Zionist world. It's more of a religious end times prophet, prophecy kind of thing, holy visions, TradCon, it's going to be appearing to be the best trad wife and telling others how to be the best trad. So the queen bee is going to show up in different aspects depending on which sphere you're in. And it shows up differently in the red pill or even in the work environment. The queen bee does not have a single way. Oh, she's doing this. She's a queen bee. No, it's the overall behavior within the sphere. And then you got to think about what are her intentions and what results is she getting.
right? Yeah. What is she trying to get out of this? Because I was thinking about in the feminist church, they would probably even celebrate the queen bee. They would make big fanfare about it. They would say it's a good thing. The tradcons aren't going to do that. The tradcons are going to do the servant leadership thing. They are going to acknowledge the patriarchy, but then do everything they can to build up the women and create a theology around that gives women all the control without actually stating that that's what they're doing, right? So the queen bee will still be there, but she will have to perform a very different dance than the feminist church version of the queen bee. The performance of the tradcon queen bee is going to be about paying lip service to masculinity. My favorite example of this is she will say, well, I am under my pastor, right? Yeah, Nick knows what I'm talking about, right? They don't say that they're under the authority of their husband. They say they're under the authority of the pastor, right? And that's, so they're the queen bee, and then the pastor is sort of like, he sort of blesses their queen bee status, which is probably heresy, but
Right. Yeah, like that. It's just the man gets thrown under the bus. They'll pay lip service, but their actions say another, doing it. It's a whole nother thing. It's what they say and what they do, and then sometimes even what they say is patriarchy. And then 1,000 caveats later, he's basically her bitch, basically.
pretty
All
much.
with the pastor's blessing.
Yeah. But I cannot tell you how many TradCon women, particularly older women, who say things like that. Oh, I'm under the pastor's authority. The pastor is the authority. You know, I need to go ask my pastor that. No, bitch, you need to go ask your husband. That's his job. I mean, literally in the Bible, that's his job.
But I follow Jesus.
Jesus is my boyfriend.
Oh, yeah, that's the other flavor.
He doesn't make me do any sexual acts for him.
Are you dropping hints as to what might be coming this weekend there, Nick?
Yeah, because I'm about to hit my last point here. So yeah, that's a hint. Then Steve and y'all can talk about that after this last point. The last point is G. What do they actually contribute to the space? What's the ROI?
Okay. Can I answer your question with a question, Nick?
Sure.
How broad of a definition of contribute are we using here?
I'm trying to think of something positive. What do they
Because
positively
okay, well, because I'm thinking back to earlier when we were talking about the men saying, "Oh, well, we need women because they can be mouthpieces, they can get the messaging out." That can be a positive contribution by itself, right? Just in a vacuum with all the other bullshit that goes on around it. Okay. But
Okay.
could a queen bee have a positive impact on a man specifically? No.
Let me put it in perspective. Let's think of great male philosophers. Aristotle, Plato, Thomas Aquinas, Hegel, Kant, even Marx. I mean, you could go on and on and on. They all contributed. Maybe positive, maybe negative, maybe some and some. Okay, now what's the best female philosopher that has actually contributed something? Nick, you've studied philosophy. What's the first name that comes to mind? Okay, that proves my point. Do women really contribute innovative thought, understanding? No. They can understand, they can transmit what they learn from men, but the contribution is in propagation of the message, not development of the message or the idea.
Yeah.
Prove me wrong. Go ahead, prove me wrong.
Oh, I'm going to say something that's going to piss women off. Women copy, they do not create.
Can they expose what's already there?
Sure. I mean, but that would be copying somebody else who did the actual work of figuring out what needed to be exposed. They copy, they don't create.
Yeah.
Men plant the seed, but the woman can nurture it.
Okay. They can bring popularity, maybe some information. Very few contribute something new or valuable. I'm not saying it can't happen or hasn't happened, but like in philosophy, I'm sure you can find some woman somewhere that contributed something, but Mostly insignificant to the whole.
By the way, gentlemen, we have our first troll in the comments, so I'm going to do the honors. Bye-bye.
Okay. So that was point G. What do they actually contribute to the space? Anything else to add, guys?
No.
No, we've kind of been all over a lot of things tonight.
Yeah. We talked about the concept of the queen bee, some of the movies. Seven Man, Steve Sandman talked about the queen bee in the manosphere in the Red Pill blogging days. And we talked and went through point A, B, C, D, E, F, and G of queen bee attire, queen bee traits and the masks they wear, queen bee goals and motivations. Where is the man in the picture? The question of female narcissism, the simp army of thirsty men, and what do they actually contribute? Now you have a taxonomy, categorization, an explanation of queen bees in the manosphere, red pill, and perhaps also in the church. And you could probably carry this to other places as well.
So let me do an introduction to our Saturday stream. First of all, to any of the people who have been watching us, our subscribers, you do realize we have never had a woman on this stream. This is men only. 3 guys talking. Yeah, we have guests. They're all men. But, Nick and I and Plutarch do stream with Elena on Saturday on her channel. And we talk with her behind the scenes, and she likes to be involved in things. And so we're going to do a part 2 of this on Elena's stream. And my original title got taken for this stream. So I came up with a new title. Lila Rose, Queen Bee. The subtitle would be When a Queen Bee Steps in Dog Shit and Tracks It in the House.
Brilliant. Because Lila definitely, desperately wants to be the queen bee. Of what? I think she wants to be the queen bee of TradCon church conservatism. Not even necessarily of the church, but
she just stepped in dog shit and it stuck to her shoe and she can't get it off.
Yeah, she's still swinging punches on Twitter even as we speak right now. The whole thing has gotten really quite stupid.
So we're going to apply queen bee to Lila Rose stepping in dog shit and tracking it in the house. Join us on Saturday at 9:15 Pacific, 10:15 Mountain, 11:15 Central, and 12:15 Eastern. And that's morning / afternoon in Eastern. So, Queen Bees is giving me a headache. Well,
they also made you watch Mean Girls.
Yeah, it did. I watched Mean Girls and Cruel Intentions and She's All That. Just to kind of
why?
Got nothing much to do here in this hotel room, like after work, and I was like, "Oh, this would be a good thing to understand the common traits of the queen bee."
Well, Nick, we thank you for your sacrifice.
Hey, even guys need examples of this behavior so they can recognize it when they see it. So maybe Nick's doing an education to allow him to avoid the more sophisticated queen bee women out there.
Well, there are definitely varying levels of sophistication. And frankly, the Manosphere and TradCon spaces require far more sophistication than the standard sort of queen bee spaces, like your feminist church or whoever the woman of the day is over on the left, right? Those are very, they're easy come, easy go. The red pill requires a far more sophisticated person to become the queen bee. Probably even more sophisticated than the church.
Yeah, I mean, red pill are, I would say the overall intelligence level in the red pill is higher than the general populace. Therefore, any woman that's going to infiltrate the space and become the queen bee also has to have a higher intelligence and be more sophisticated.
So I have to answer Sir Snores a lot here. Has she trotted out her soy boy husband on his lease publicly? Not yet. And I want to stress emphasis on the yet, because she has been digging and digging for days, and you know that she's going to have to at some point to try and get out of this. It's coming. Not yet. She's really trying to do it. She's really trying to avoid not having to do it, but it's coming.
All right, guys. Any house upkeep for next week? Or if we already did Saturday, Plutarch, you're not going to be there next week. Is that correct?
I don't know. We'll see.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we have to come up with a topic.
Yeah, we don't know what our topic will be.
I have a topic, but I might save that one because I want to make sure Plutarch's around for it. So we might come up with just a lighter stream next week, without bullet points or points up to G, A through G. You know.
Oh, and no slide decks like last week.
Yeah.
I may have nerded out a little too much last week, but I would still do it again. So,
hey, it's fun. We can do streams that have a lot of content and a lot of points that we have to hit, and then we can do the free form where it's just a lot of rambling. Both are fun.
Yep. All right, guys. So bringing it here to a close, not give you a hostage situation or anything. We want to thank you guys for listening. Please like, share, subscribe, share it to your church bros. There's some good information here. They might take some hints. Anyways, we will see you next time. Later.
There was a firefight! Son of a bitch!